Thank you, Mayor. Usually I feel that I'm pretty good standing up here and with words, but I don't know, I'm pretty short on words today because it is one of the most difficult mornings, I think, of my career. I've been doing this for 25 years and unfortunately had to go through a lot of student deaths in those 25 years each and every year, but this may be the most challenging of them all. And any time a death of a student is traumatic, especially to the school community, but to the entire JCPS family. But I don't know if I have enough words to talk about the devastation of today. You know, about 5 minutes, and some others have said this, but about 5 minutes after my daughter walked out the front door today to go to school is when I got word that this has happened. So you can imagine how devastating that is. As a superintendent, knowing that one of the students in your community has died, especially being shot at a bus station and at a bus stop in a drive-by shooting, is just devastating. But as a father too, as a father where your child is walking out the door, it makes you want to hug your child a little closer and know that, that's my daughter and the students of JCPS mean so much to me. And so we are here to support the family. Our heart goes out to the family of the victims, especially the one that passed away. I will be contacting the family when the time is appropriate to share my condolences and regards. And we will be there to support the schools that are involved in this. So first of all the victims from this morning attended Eastern High School. And once again, our hearts are with the families of the victims and all of the students and staff at Eastern High School. I know I've been there before, not this same incident, but I've been the principal of a school before with a student death, and I know how it impacts the students, the families, the educators of a school community, and it can be devastating. We also know that there was a bus stop about a block away for Crosby Middle School, so students were at close by. We have sent counselors, crisis counselors, to both Eastern High School and to Crosby Middle School to support students of that school. Our school bus arrived shortly after the incident, and we know how this impacted all of the students that were there at the bus stop. So this is traumatic for every single student that was at the bus stop, every single student at the school, and within JCPS and our community. And so we know we must be there for our community. And I have to say this, as I follow the education landscape across America and talk to fellow superintendents and colleagues, the deaths of students, of young people, all across America are happening way too often to gun violence. One is too many, but this is happening over and over. We see the stories daily that are occurring across our nation. And we have to know, especially at a bus stop, that we consider a safe space all across this community for children just to load the bus and go to school. And so I can't say enough about how important it is that we all work together, the school system, the city, LMPD, our federal partners, to make sure that we remove the illegal guns from the street. I can't say that enough. And the proliferation of that over the years has grown immensely. And I think it is critical that we act together to make sure that our children are safe and that no child again stands at a bus stop and has to face fear like this. But it is definitely a time for us to come together. We will work to support the family. We'll work to support the two school communities and all of JCPS. And I'll finish by saying this, it is a very difficult time for students and staff and families of schools all across America and communities. Dealing with COVID alone has been monumental on schools, from contact tracing and quarantine and sickness and deaths, and trying to keep schools open. To add to this, the gun violence is devastating. But we will be working as a community to make sure this does not happen again. Well, I'll say this, it's an ongoing issue that we've been discussing. We were on course to make a recommendation prior to the pandemic, so we'll be talking about that with our board ongoing. It's hard for us to know right now what, until we get more information, whether that would have had an impact on today or not. And then I think secondly, we have to continuously think about the numbers too. I mean, we have 155 schools. And I think with our shortages, and I'm no expert on this, on police officers, that can be an issue. But I think it is something we are definitely going to be discussing with our Board of Education and see where they want to go with it.
Can you say whether or not Eastern is one of the schools that had a full-time SRO?
I do not believe Eastern has ever had an SRO. That would have been the Middletown Police Department that's there. So I'll confirm that, but I do believe that there was never one at Eastern. And I will say this about SROs. I mean, you know, the common belief is that prior to our board's decision that there were SROs in every school. We had about 28 of them in 2018-19. LMPD was forced to remove about 17 or 18 of those as a result of budget cuts and shortage of officers. So really it was going to be down to about 9 or 10 without us staffing our own individual department. So that's why we were going that route.
Eastern High School has been deemed as having some problems. That's something that we should address immediately. Right now, getting someone possibly in there to kind of look into some of the things that are going on.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I can't say. I'm not going to say that, you know, Eastern High School necessarily, you know, the problem is in Eastern High School. I mean, let's be honest. You know, we can't separate community from what happens in our schools. And so because things may be happening in the community, that has, you know, I don't believe that's something on Eastern High School because, you know, I understand, but I'm just saying, I believe Eastern High School is a great school. I've been in there many times doing great things with a lot of fantastic students in there. But obviously, you know, the students are impacted by what happens in the community. And I think to Councilman Arthur's points, when you're talking about students who have a lot of need, a lot of trauma, a lot of things that are happening, that happens in the community, and that's not necessarily Eastern High School.
Can you assure these parents that have to put their kids at the bus stop? I mean, how do they feel tomorrow morning, you know, dropping their kid off at the bus stop because they can't wait, because they have to go to work? How can they feel safe tomorrow morning, 24 hours after something like this happens? What can you do?
Well, I mean, it's a great question. I think it's a community-wide issue. We have 770 plus bus routes. So that means 770 bus stops. My daughter goes out the door and goes to school too, so I'm impacted by this as well. So, you know, obviously it's something we're going to work as a community together, but the school system's not going to simply solve 770 bus stops with community violence alone. We have to be a part of the solution, but that has to be a community-wide solution as well.